wins this. So whoever gets the closest to the sales price of this house, I'll make butter choose for. We're upping the ante a little bit.
Whoa.
Okay, so not the list price, but the actual price it sells for.
Yeah, so I almost think we need to have two.
Yeah.
One that's like the CMA, and then one that actually is what it sells for.
Wow.
And then
I like that plan.
a plate of butter choose. Okay.
Because I realize that at this particular moment, people have different strategies and approaches on how they live and what they price at. So in the world of Fannie Freddie and some of those, they consider that premium pricing. And you can do that in an up market. And when property values are going up, I mean, you're still basing your CMAs and your property values based on the current data, what you're seeing, but then you can adjust it and list at a higher price. So anyway, I've got this CMA, and I've loaded some of the things. I've not tweaked it. I mean, we did on our regular one, but on this one,
Yeah, can we put them on the TV?
You know, I tried to, and the internet with all the computers running kind of made it a weak signal. So it's-
so if you want to watch it here and just
if you want
take
to turn your
notes,
computers off, and then we'll.
I'll just come sit by you.
or we can just kind of do it this way.
I'll get out of your way. because
Wait,
in my
so
seat,
there.
I'll go back.
So saved CMAs, hang on. And if you're wondering what makes me a pro at this or not, I would say I bet I've done over 3,000 CMAs.
So what page are you on right now?
Okay, so I saved this CMA yesterday. Anyway, I bet I've done over 3,000 in our career. So I'm not Randy, but we do have some experience under our belts. So Randy talked a lot about picking your properties, picking your comps. So we won't go over that, but I have them in here now, the comps that I picked. And I want to talk about the adjustment values. So here in this section under bedrooms and all of the data, I guess you all know how to populate the subject property. You can do that by tax ID or by a previous MLS number. You just want to make sure that that data that comes up is correct. So double check your square footage, and from the time it was maybe previously listed, if you pull from MLS, I mean from the tax data, it will lump your square footages. So you have to break it out and then tweak, like it won't put in a garage or a carport and things. So you need to make sure your data is correct. Then the
Hey, Robyn,
adjusted values.
was there more bedrooms when they finished the basements?
Yeah.
Or was there
Yes.
just?
4 to 5. How many?
There
I don't
are
know. That's what I
currently-
was over there.
There are currently 4, and thank you. There are 3. So
Three full bathrooms.
3 full
And they finished-
bathrooms.
100% finished the basement.
And the basement is finished. A portion of it is just storage. It's storage with nice shelves that remain.
So it's all
But
finished.
yeah, but for these purposes, we're going to put this in here at 80. Maybe we'll change it to 85. So obviously that's how you change your things. Now, adjusted values, I'm going to pop back up here at the top. If you look at it, the adjustments, The only one that is defaulted in there by MLS is this unverified archived values. They put that in there, I don't know, over 12 years ago. And they quit maintaining that. They did make adjustments to it for a period, but they quit maintaining that because our market's fluctuating so much. So all of these values along here, you will see your values are probably different. Like I think bedrooms comes in at 1,000, a bathroom is maybe 5. All of those values are static. They do not change. They will not change because they haven't found a good way to adjust that. The one thing that is a variable that will change is the above grade square footage right here, levels 1, 2, 3. And those will all be based on the comps that you pull. So let's say you're looking at an older home down in South County that's maybe built in the 40s. That value will come in lower, say maybe it might be at $50 a square foot. And that's based on the way MLS calculates square footage. It's a formula that they have built into the system. So if you're looking at custom homes up in, say, Alpine, that's going to pop in at more. So those above grade square footages are the one thing that will change. The basement will not. So we know from experience that basements are about half of above grade square footage. So we'll change that to 40. Well, I
So
don't.
where'd you change that?
So in the adjustment values.
Right here, what's
Over.
10? Under basement,
So we're gonna.
You're changing that to 40.
Uh-huh.
But see, if I change that, nothing else, it doesn't change anything. So if I'm at this number,
Well,
oh, it did change.
yeah.
Oh,
So then in addition to that is the basement square footage, what it costs to finish a basement. Well, not what it costs, but what value it adds. And that's about not a quarter, well, not quite a quarter again. So so anyway, does that make sense? Anybody have questions
Yeah.
yet?
Where are you adding that? Are you in the basement square footage?
I'm in the basement adjustment values. So in this
yeah.
second
Under square
column.
footage, right? So you changed
Yeah,
that
what
to.
did you
So
want
let's
to
say if you can see what happens here, I'll just change this to $50 a square foot, which doesn't make any sense because then suddenly your basement has more value than your above grade because you've got 40 for the square footage itself and then another $50 for a finish. So
You
now that
changed-
puts you at 90, but you can see what it does to your.
You changed the $15 under the percent finish. It's always been at 15. You changed that.
I changed it.
to
Yeah,
50.
I changed it to 50 just now, which is incorrect. We're going to change it back to 15.
Where is that?
So now you've got a total basement with that finished basement at 85% being finished. If you add those together, that's $55 a square foot for the basement, right? So your above grade square footages are having a value at $80 a square foot, and your basement is 40 plus an additional 15 for the finish.
So you changed the square footage to 80.
Yes. So
I didn't even know that that was a value right there. I had no idea that that's what that was.
oh yeah.
That's kind of embarrassing.
So you'll see on your on your unverified that this value on bedrooms is probably 1,000, I think. And so you can change these based on this property. Let's say this was, again, a custom home and they'd really decked out the basement. You could go for more value in the finish because of the upgraded. Another place that you will want to adjust is under your built. But in this possible scenario, $1,000 a year for depreciation is probably correct. We're going to be really bracketed here because I did, in selecting comps, bracket the age. I think the garage as the default shows at 5,000. That's not at all what an appraisal will show. If you're wondering, like, how do I want to customize this? You could ask your favorite lender. I would ask John if they could research some of their current loans and have an appraisal, just these adjustment pages redacted. So if you called and said, hey, I'm doing a entry-level home in Eagle Mountain, have you guys done any loans there? Could you send me the adjustment pages? And that way you could see exactly what an appraiser is making for adjustments, square footage wise. And then also for bedrooms, bathrooms, because it's going to change based on the price of the home and location, things like that. The other thing that is always going to be incorrect starting out is the acreage. I think they have on their 43,560, which is $1 a square foot for an acre. That's wrong. And so I put in this value. And again, it's based on where the property,
What's your value?
What is
I
it?
put in 250,000 an acre. And then it makes that adjustment based on the difference of, like here's 2.4, this second comp is 0.17. So you've got a difference of 17,000 positive
When
in
you-
this second one.
Robyn, when you adjust your values here, does it automatically?
Yes,
change it?
uh-huh.
So I tried to change the garage and it never changes anything. So if I change the garage to say 15,000 instead of 5,000, because obviously with the
Uh-huh.
garage, it doesn't,
Well, you
it
have
does
to
never
come,
change. It never changes this. The other ones will change, but the
Well,
garage doesn't change. I guess
if
it's
you,
'cause
the
you know what?
difference is because
My
all of
comps all have two
two car
cars.
garage,
That's
right?
right. Okay.
Yeah, that would only change the value if any of the comps had something different than the
Okay, that
subject.
makes sense.
Last time we talked a little bit, I think, about what you can do if you see some really bad information in a comp. You can edit, let's see. Where is that? Where do you edit? Oh, let's talk about this first. Oh, over here. Edit comp mode. So if you see that an agent has made a glaring error, let's say they put all of you're looking at the pictures, you see that they don't have a basement listed and they put it all above grade, you can hit, and that happens. Or if they maybe didn't adjust bathrooms, they didn't verify you hit edit comp mode and it takes you to the comps. So you can change their data. Like if you see a third car garage and they only listed it as a 2, then that's where you make that. I would say don't make those adjustments unless you absolutely know. And then you just pop in the correct data here. Okay, so that's how you do that. Let's talk about adding adjustment factors. This little button here, add adjustment factors. Honestly, I don't remember if I created these
Yeah, because I don't have anything.
or,
If I-
okay,
If I pull mine up, mine's. gone.
okay, because it was so long ago. So you can create an adjustment factor. Let's say, somebody give me, well, you don't have to.
How about a shed or a pool?
A pool,
Something
oh, well,
outside.
a pool's already in there. Oh, maybe it's not, because it will come up with things that are on the MLS, I believe. Let's say,
How do you
Solar
adjust for
panels?
like absolutely perfect condition, you know, for the condition of the home?
so let's throw in, because I do have condition. Condition isn't something that is on the MLS data sheet, right?
Like,
It's always in comments or somewhere where they talk about remodel. But if you wanted to, let's say in your comps, you have the house is just average. It's been maintained, but it hasn't been updated. But maybe half of your comps have remodeled kitchens and bathrooms. So you would enter an adjustment, enter a factor here. So type it in as condition and then hit the add and it will, and you want to put it over there. Now you're done. So as we go back to our CMA, you can see it put condition in there.
Okay.
Now, how you use that is another thing. On a standard appraisal, you'll see condition factors, poor, fair, average, good, excellent. So 1 to 5. And the same with quality of construction. So I would say use that same rating, 1 to 5, with 5 being excellent, 1 being
grand,
poor.
Just like the appraisal ones.
You're
Talk about
right,
the appraisal condition.
right. So let's say this subject is a 4. And I'm just going to say, so, and then you need to establish what that value is. And that's obviously going to be different for each home and based on what they've done. Oh, I'm like, oh, I thought you had a question, Alex. I thought you were raising your hand.
So
I'm like-
sorry. I was giving Mike a high five because our Christmas lights are off our house.
That's because the snow has melted.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, if Alex has a question, wow, that's amazing because she's really, really good at this. But
Well,
no,
I'm learning a lot actually. Like, I'm grateful I came because there's some stuff you're doing that I didn't know I could do. So thanks for your help.
yay, good. So let's say this property is a 4 and the things they've done to it, as they've put LVP in, they've painted the kitchen cabinets. They didn't put new cabinets in,
did
but
granite.
they put granite or quartz and some other things. Let's say each category is going to be worth 30,000. And you know from experience whether or not what those prices are. You also know that you don't get dollar for dollar, right? So, but if you're looking at comps, you can see an improved property versus an unimproved property. And those prices do show up. You can see, oh, if this one's been spiffed up, it's going to get 30,000 more.
But that raised my comp almost 100,000.
Because you've not made a comp adjustment yet.
Okay.
Okay, So now you go to your comps and you have to physically look at those pictures and make a choice. This one I happen to know is about a 3. So when you change that one, you will now get a positive $30,000 adjustment because it's $30,000 less valuable. Let's say this one was a 4. I'm just going to go ahead and put, well, not 44. But you can see how it continues to adjust, and you have to go across all of your comps and make that adjustment. Let's say one is a 5. Let's say it's a flip property. They've gone in, they've completely redone it, but you can see how it changes your values all the way across. By the way, this is just me, but I hate the fact that the MLS has now made it side by side, so you can't see your whole the whole comp. You have to scroll up and down the page.
I have a question.
Yeah,
So you're saying that the value is for like 1, it's 30,000 is the bottom level, and then every number is going to add 30,000,
add or subtract 30.
right?
But
So it's that
it-
much of a difference,
But it doesn't, but you choose that value,
right? Right.
and you choose that value based on your experience and the kind of home, you know. Maybe it's 75 on a custom home, maybe it's just 20, but based on looking at those comps, you'll see what it is, and then you'll assign those values.
Okay.
Yeah,
Would it make sense to do that for rather than condition maybe remodel, because so many properties now are having new kitchens put in and you can look at how much remodeling has been done, updating it.
well, you can call it what you want as you're setting. Yeah, as you're setting.
The appraisal conditions, using the same appraisal
Yeah.
conditions.
I think it is nice to use the same factors as what an appraisal has. So quality of construction will be in there. And I think you can see, if I go back to my custom factors, I do have quality of construction. And let's say you're doing a neighborhood in American Fork and you've got that one off property that you're listing that is vinyl siding versus rock and stucco, and maybe has basic interior finishes. So you would set a quality of construction of yours at a 3, and maybe the others, if you have a lot of stucco rock properties that you're using as comparables, because they're in the same neighborhood or within a mile of each other, but in a little better area. So then you would establish quality of construction. This also allows you to add like outbuildings. I think I have in here mother-in-law apartment, or, you know, basement kitchen. So some of those things that you'll see on an appraisal, you can add here and then just save them.
When
Okay.
you actually go, and I know you do this, you actually really look at each individual comp. So are you looking at the comps with remodeled kitchens and what they've sold versus the comps with not remodeled kitchens in Formica and what they sold for?
Yes.
And that's how. And you're
When you get down to the listing CMA, you really want to zoom in. If, like, I know Alex does this, she offers CMAs annually, so people can get an idea of what's happening. I don't know if you're wanting to spend an hour on each one, which you would, you know, you're going to be 40 minutes to pick good comps and make proper adjustments on a listing CMA, really.
Mhm.
So you do need to dig into those pictures and really take a look or even make some phone calls. Anyway, the point is there are adjustment factors that you can create and add, and then let's just throw in the mother-in-law apartment, not that this one has one. And you can see
Hey,
that
Robyn, do you have the walkout or second door for a basement as an adjustment?
no, that might be, why didn't that show up?
Can you tell us what your adjustments are?
Whoa. I don't use a Mac. This is very strange for me. I have added fireplaces, added functional utility, landscaping. So because that's not in there, any of the things that would show up on an appraisal, crawl space. So, that could be, there are areas of Spanish Fork where they've added additional crawl space. So it's not basement square footage, but it does add value to the home.
What about a brand new roof?
No, that would come
What's that?
under condition.
Okay, because that wouldn't, an appraiser wouldn't do that.
No,
Okay.
uh-uh,
So you're trying to look at it as an appraiser would.
right. So RV parking, outbuildings, patio deck, pool, quality of construction, shed, sold concessions. I think that already comes in. Time adjustment, which we needed in there when in a slower market, and view.
Same thing, you're looking at houses with views versus
Uh-huh.
houses without
Yeah.
views.
Right. So why didn't, I don't know what happened.
We're trying to do.
Well, some of my mother-in-law apartment and condition, where did condition go? Is it still over there? Yeah. I don't know why that mother-in-law apartment isn't pulling over.
That would be the second kitchen. What do you value a second
Is
kitchen?
there a limit on how many adjustments you can put in there?
No, there's not. There we go. Hit the done button.
So what do you
Is
value?
that
for-
DONE or?
DUMB. Hit the dumb button. Thanks, honey.
Bye.
So, or you could term this second kitchen or add another adjustment factor. Because those are things that will show up on, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Okay,
There isn't a second kitchen in this one.
no.
What?
And I don't, and for our purposes, you pull your own comps and look and see. This is a comp that we threw in there for this purpose because it was in the neighborhood, but it's a part of a PUD. And I was curious, but it really is pulling down the value because of the acreage. And so this is the kind of thing where I maybe pull it out of the CMA. So just remove it, but make a note of the MLS number, have that on the side so you can reference it, just because it's a good, it kind of gives you an idea of what's happening in the neighborhood. So, yep, remove that. And of course it changes the value. Anyway, most of these comps are up in Traverse Mountain. Some of these things are opinion on whether or not Traverse Mountain is as desirable as down in the flat. This property also has a view. Traverse Mountain most of the time has a view. Well, actually all the time. But this is a good sized lot. Traverse Mountain are a little smaller, but you can see how those adjustments have already taken place. Anyway, that's how you kind of fine tune a CMA. Questions on any of this stuff that we've talked about? And then, oh, and as you can, let's say you're doing a lot of properties in Cedar Hills, then you could save your, let's see, save your CMA or adjustments. You see here, I'm on the adjustments. If I then was doing, say, let's use it better, condos, a lot of condos, and you knew that they were always, you didn't want to have to constantly be putting in those other adjustment factors. You would just create a new adjustment. You would pull those factors over and then rename it. And then whenever you went back, I'm going to go back to the report, because you can see I've got a lot of different adjustment pages that I could pull in there for. So at one time in 2017, I added typical appraisal and average appraisal and took everything that appraisers were doing at the time and put it in there. And then there was a property that we were doing that had all kinds of special things out in Eagle Mountain. And rather than, and it was a long market where we had a listing for well over a year, and we were constantly having to update that CMA. So if you think you're going to be doing the same type of CMA over and over, set a page that has those adjustment factors already in with the preloaded values. And then you don't have to do it every time.
And where did you do that?
Create new.
Yeah, create a new one.
Oh.
and you can adjust one to the favorite.
Yeah.
And then under here.
So
Oh, then
the
it would
first
have
thing
more
to do would
yeah.
be to pull in all of your adjustment or add adjustment factors, and then create a new adjustment table, I guess, and save it. Then it saves you time. Everybody
So
all
I got a
class.
question.
I haven't heard any snoring. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh,
So I
Brian.
got a question. I was playing originally, and I had a lot of the properties up in Traverse Mountain, but then I was like, well, I should probably take those out. You know, that was my second thought, is maybe not to have those because of there might be a difference. And so when I took those properties out and just looked at things, you know, south of Temp Highway, I got more of a value. I was around that 670 range, but then I got more of a value around like 630, 640 range. And so by taking those out, does that make that much of a difference? And or really because it has a view, then it really is more like the Traverse Mountain? Like, anyway.
Well, the Traverse Mountain ones are newer generally, but we took out some of the brand new ones. So we did set a top age limit. Because of the view, because of the location to Temp Highway, what I had to do, because I didn't do a geographic search, I had to take properties out, say that we're at, I think it's called the Point Meadows, because those are just frankly lesser homes. I don't know how to say it. Now, I hope nobody's offended, but you know, they've had water problems. So we removed all of those, but I did leave in the Traverse Mountain.
Because I've
One-
always, like Brian, I've always been told not to cross like major highways or any, like when searching for comps, but is it just strictly because of the view that you pulled in the Traverse Mountain homes? Because I wouldn't have running.
I didn't.
But
in my
we
thoughts.
had because we wanted more current comps, we had to add Traverse Mountain. Like in the last 80 days. I wanted property because the market has adjusted so quickly.
I went 180 days on the.
So did
I,
on the
because
south
there
side.
wasn't.
So you have to use your judgment and say, do I want more current properties to establish current value and maybe tweak a little bit for location, or the rule, what our advanced training always said, and this was from the banks, if in the market somebody's looking for a property, will they look at the comps you've pulled and also at the subject, or would they completely eliminate the subject because the differences are too much? I would say if there's a property that's come on the market in Traverse Mountain and one on this south side of the highway, they'll look at both. So
So current is more important.
in this particular market, current
Because it's
is,
just been changes.
yeah, is I think more important.
And what is the condition of the home?
Yeah.
The condition of this one is good.
Have the kitchen or anything been updated?
The kitchen cabinets have been painted. The countertops have been replaced. All of the flooring has been replaced. The bathrooms have been updated. All the appliances are new.
Okay.
So would you give that 30,000 more then? for
I
that
think
property?
backsplash, yeah. So anyway, the outside's in good condition. It has not the Spanish tile roofs, but the tile roof. So
Oh, so
the lifetime
lifetime.
roof, stucco, full stucco and brick exterior.
And is the yard as cute as it is in that other picture?
The yard is nice. Yeah, it's in good shape. It doesn't have a lot of extras, like not a fire pit, but it does have grow boxes and a patio, and it's terraced. So you've got areas that you could have for play areas, and it's a manageable terrace, not this terrace. No, that's not terrace, that's just steep. Let's see. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
Or what did everyone get?
You don't have to tell us. You can just send it in.
So what did you get? Tell us what you did.
Well, I don't want to tell you what we're listing it at because
Oh.
that may influence.
So we're just
And
gonna
we don't
text
know
it,
what's
so
going to
we just
sell
text
at. I
it.
mean, we have an idea.
Are we just supposed to text you? Just text
Yeah,
you?
just
Oh.
you do it, come up with your own comps, come up with your own value, text it in, and we'll have what we go under contract or what we sell for. I guess what we go under contract for will probably be,
So send
what
back
it-
a text.
yeah,
Yeah.
What you
that'd be
sell, what you're listed it for, and then what you're gonna, what it
Uh-huh.
actually sells for.
yeah. And it will be available for showing starting tomorrow. And there's an open house on Saturday in between sessions, if that matters to you.
Very timely.
Would that be beauty salon sessions?
Yeah, in between pedicure and hair session. And let's see, what else?
After we do it, I'm curious.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
but more than that, I just wanted everybody to be able
I was
to,
gonna say, let's see what their
um,
input.
I wanted everybody to be able to see how to really kind of customize a CMA. If you have more questions or forgot, I can, because honestly, from,
And we are recording this, so if you wanna watch.
yeah,
it,
you can rewatch this, but
Fast
from
forward.
time to time, I'm like, wait, where's that button again? But I also loved Randy's idea of going to a builder and finding out what they're charging. Because if you are working as CMA against a property that competes against new construction, you'll want to use like what their landscaping adjustment is. What their upgrade package is. That would set your condition or actually your quality of construction. So
Look at my screen.
that's, what did I do? Okay, anyway, basically, that's,
And do you normally use the radius to stay in the neighborhood, or do you
Oh, good question.
do you use the radius tool, or are you actually just looking for the price points and things? How do you find your comps? That was the other thing I wanted to ask.
okay. The way I find my comps is I will usually add some of the very basic things. For instance, on this property, there's a very definite price point at properties over 3,200 square feet, wherein this one is, I think, at 28.
28. So you kept it under 3,000.
No, I think I went 3,100. So I try to bracket the square footage, plus all the properties, not all, but many of the properties that came in over 33 square feet had 3-car garages. And if possible, you want to minimize your adjustments. Yes, make them as needed, but a good CMA doesn't require that you're adding, subtracting value all the time. And you, a rule of thumb is you want to stay within 20% of the above grade square footage. So let's say you were at 1,000 square feet on the main. Well, in the appraisal world, they would probably throw out a comp that was, say, at 1,300, because that would be a different type of property. So you want to stay within 20% variance. And you also want, by the time you've made all of your adjustments, if you have a property that is over 20% difference in price, even with the adjustments, remove it. Because for some reason, it's not a good comp. So that 20% on the major components of a CMA or appraisal.
And then did you use the Rambler?
I know, yeah, so all of them were Ramblers, all were bracketed within 10, I think, I don't even remember what I did. I think 10 years on our 5 years below, 5 years above, maybe more than that. I think 5 years under and 10 years over. And square footage, And then I just went Lehigh and then took out those areas of Lehigh that were not comparable. And I think we went back 80 or 85 days. I mean, you can see what your search criteria was.
Yeah, if you do basic criteria and you've got tons of comps, then you can start to be a little bit more specific and weed down the ones that are not as good.
Put that in.
Yeah.
Your 2000, I don't get any matches.
Anyway, so anyway, I think if you start to get really, really focused on the data on the front end, you could eliminate a good comp that you should be incorporating.
Okay, Robyn, thank you so much. Anybody else have any last questions? I think we'll probably go ahead and. Anyone?
I hope it was valuable.
My brain can't work like yours. I can't do it that way.
How do you do it?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and shut down the recording. Keep in mind, this will be recorded and it will be on our